Charting Man Dan with the chart, guys. I was a bit distracted trading, but we're live now. We got a lot to talk about. We last checked in a week ago. The theme was all eyes on ETH. We were looking for ETH to make its move. It did. It's going well. We've got rotation into altcoins. Is this the start of altcoin season? We'll check in on that. We're going to check in on some of the crypto stocks. But first, just a quick, I've got to highlight, they're making a joke of the market today with headlines. So we're going to look at the NASDAQ, and Bitcoin is being impacted. The 5-minute time frame of Bitcoin looks like a choppy mess. Here we go. So you can see the 5-minute. Okay, higher low, lower high, lower low, big bounce. It's chopping around in a big way. You know, we're moving $1,000 really easily. It's because of the NASDAQ. Why is the NASDAQ doing this? This is the NASDAQ on the 5-minute. Because, number one, it's a slow summer afternoon. Not a ton of volume, not a ton of liquidity, and little headlines can have a bigger impact. We're going to the 1-minute time frame here. So right here, volume spike. This is a headline from CBS saying Trump is considering firing Powell. We recover, we go back to the high of the bounce, nothing happens. 25 minutes later, literally word for word the exact headline, except this time it says White House official says Trump might fire Powell. So then we get follow through. Then, right here, this bull spike is Trump speaking and saying, I'm not going to fire Powell. And here we are with price on the NASDAQ exactly where it was before all of this mess started. And honestly, it's just, I'm a little embarrassed for the market today. It's making a mockery of the market. If you're trading, day trading, you know, it's chopping you out. It's a mess in that regard. I traded SMR on the bounce uranium play, sold it a bit early. Nice full recovery. But that's where we stand. And Bitcoin is reacting to that. It is not immune. We are correlated to a certain degree. And so, again, just a mess of convoluted headlines. But here we are. So Bitcoin, since we last spoke, things went well. We were here last Wednesday, and we hadn't broken the all-time high yet. So we got the all-time high, and most importantly, we got the follow-through. You know, I wanted 115,000 plus. We went up to 123. That's great. Follow through. So again, determine what time frame. And again, whenever there's euphoria, I always remind myself, I want to counter that. Okay, there's euphoria going on. I know that most people are going to miss the top. I'm not calling it top. But we need to identify what are going to be the red flags for us. And I can say that weekly EMA 12 being lost will be the first red flag for me. Monthly EMA 12 being lost will be the second major red flag for me. But right now there's no red flags. So what we have is a Bitcoin daily inside bar with 120 resistance. And what the bulls are hoping for is to set the daily high or low, 115.7. And then there's a possibility we may trade sideways for a bit. And we know sideways isn't a bad thing. After a breakout, you're digesting things, you're establishing new fair value, and oftentimes during sideways, that's when altcoins can run and do their thing. And so, Bitcoin bulls want to get over 120, but look at the 4-hour. Stair-step bounce. We have to confirm a 4-hour uptrend for a confident daily high or low, and then we'll take it from there. So we'll see what retracement looks like when 4-hour consolidation begins next. And oftentimes, it's confirming, you know, I'm just looking at the 15-minute time frame here. If we're going to see 4-hour consolidation, it's possible that it shapes up like a head and shoulders. Right now, we can say there's glaring relative weakness in Bitcoin compared to the NASDAQ over the last 20 minutes. You know, 15 minutes, here we are testing the lows. And again, NASDAQ is up still near the highs. So it's looking like Bitcoin is rejecting hard enough from 120 that 4-hour consolidation is going to shape up from here. It's not official, but it wouldn't surprise us in the slightest. And so again, the question into tomorrow, can the bulls confirm the 4-hour uptrend to officially set the daily high or low? We ended up getting to hourly oversold and it wasn't clean. We like when hourly oversold marks the low, and you know, bulls wanted to ideally hold 116.2 from there. You can see it got choppy. We did drop to a lower low, no real follow through, but again, one thing that you see when you get the sloshing of money around from the rotation of Bitcoin to ETH is that the things, shorter term time frames, can get more choppy than normal. And so that is what is taking place. And we are definitely seeing rotation to ETH. And again, the stage was set, all eyes on ETH, and here we are up 20% from there. The stage was set for the narrative, 23%. And again, the narrative from the stocks, Tom Lee on CNBC, the stocks, stable coins, those are bullish for, Circle IPO, all this is bullish for ETH. And then it was a laggard move where you had time to load into that narrative. Normally you would get Tom Lee on CNBC talking about ETH, talking about how they're accumulating, and that would send the price up, 10% plus. But there was a delay there, and that was a gift. And so just checking in on the stocks real quick, Circle, we had our massive breakout. We topped out. There's our higher low, lower high, higher low, bull break. So an equilibrium broke bull, weekly higher low set, and now we're going to look for Circle to likely tighten up on the weekly time frame in an equilibrium. You've also got BMNR, Tom Lee's company. We blew off the top. Peter Thiel, 9% stake news came out for a spike today. No real follow through. We're still struggling, churning around the 40s. BTC is another Bitcoin. No, I forget it. BTCC? Nope. BTCS, another Bitcoin treasury company. Yeah, it's another move up. The miners, Riot, they've been holding all right. Daily uptrends our guide on Riot. Coin's been looking great. Coin's up near the highs, all-time highs, the only resistance there. MSTR is looking good. Sideways the last few days, but significant leg up. Very little resistance to all-time highs there as well. So long story short, not sticking on the stocks for long, but daily uptrend is our guide, and they're holding on just fine. They look great as long as the daily uptrend is intact. So again, the dominance chart is shifting. It's not the major shift yet, but it's a shift enough for us to be paying attention to altcoins more so, the last 2 weeks, more so than at any point in the last couple of months. Led by the ETH BTC weekly bull break. This is a change in the character of this chart. This is ideal scenario. We have not confirmed a weekly uptrend in over a year. This is telling us things are shifting. And so again, if we zoom out, 6-month time frame, if this is going to be a real ETH run that leads to all-time highs, and this narrative with stable coins, and again, the narrative, just to summarize really quickly and dumb it down, is if JP Morgan, if these banks who have alluded that they are interested in their own stable coins, if they are going to build their stable coins on the ETH platform, then they need to accumulate a significant amount to have some of that control. And so that's the narrative. Whether or not it transpires is less significant than the narrative in this moment. Got one of my psychedelic stocks breaking out. Just got to make a quick post in the chat. All right, so narrative is set, and in an ideal world, if ETH's going to all-time highs, ETH BTC is going to form a long-term higher low, and we're going to look to do this into 2030. But significant, you need a lot more, right? Okay, we got a weekly uptrend. Now what? Zoom out to the monthly. Now we're in a monthly downtrend. Okay, what's our guide? Well, we've been rejecting from monthly EMA 12 for the last 2+ years. If this is going to be long-term different, we don't want to reject there. If we do reject there, we've got to confirm a monthly uptrend. So we're going to keep taking it one day at a time, but so far we're seeing exactly what we want to see. If you're an ETH bull and an altcoin bull. The next major thing that we want to see is the dominance chart lose that higher low. And, maybe we shape up some kind of head and shoulders or something like that, but it's a very clear shift. One of the most notable shifts was as Bitcoin dropped, the vast majority of the time, I'll say 85% of the time, if Bitcoin's dropping fairly hard, what was it, 123 to 116, so that's a decent drop, 5% maybe. When it's dropping that hard, the vast majority of the time, Altcoins are dropping harder. That did not happen this time around. The dominance chart was dropping when Bitcoin was dropping, which means the altcoins were holding up stronger, which again is just another tally in the altcoin bull column of exactly what you want to see if it's going to be alt season. So we have a daily downtrend guide on the dominance chart. And as we remember the narrative or the story of ETH bulls need to lead the way for alt season. ETH is the washed up general, and you got the montage of him training, and the bad guys stole his wife, and he's gonna be back, and he's shaving off his beard, and he's back on the battlefield. And so that's all transpired. This is exactly what the bulls want to see. All right. So what's the next resistance on ETH? And again, we got a guide here. EMA runners. We know our strongest moves are EMA runners. And so look at the hourly. ETH has been riding hourly EMA 12, and we know the bulls will keep their complete short-term control as long as that is the case. And that has been the case for the last couple of days, or last 24 plus hours. So that looks great. The next major resistance zone that I'm looking at is from back here. This zone up here. So look at all these tops. And that's 34s and 35s. We're working our way through the previous support. That was a good sign to work through this base. Look at all that. That didn't act as resistance. That's good. So now we got the resistance to be looking at. And again, we want 4,000 plus. We want all-time highs, but the next major hurdle is 4,000. And so it's just a question of how long can this narrative keep legs. But again, it's looking great. Circles at the high of the day. It's a very bullish environment out there still. Just speaking about markets as a whole. The other altcoins that we were watching, remember the 2-week equilibriums. Thanks for the likes and the shares. I'll read the chat room in just a moment. The 2-week equilibriums. And we knew that if it's going to be alt season, these got to break bull. And we have ENS. ENS is a top watch just because it's latching on to the ETH narrative. 2-week equilibrium broke bull. XRP did it a while ago. 2-week equilibrium broke bull. All-time highs back in the picture as we battled 3 psychological. There were a bunch of them. Some are still there. CRV is testing. Did we get there yet? Testing. So CRV 86 key resistance. Not there quite yet. You can see ENS is a lead bull thanks to ETH strength. Sol has further to go. 187.71. So we can there's only, not everybody has this 2-week equilibrium setup, but for the names that do, we can break them apart. The names that have broken bull and the names that have not broken bull yet. So Sol has not yet, CRV has not yet, Link has not yet, XLM did in a big way, lead bull. So just go down the list, FET, not close. So these names that are not breaking yet all have work to do. Near is not near. LTC approaching, ADA is not there, Litecoin's not there. So most of the names in that 2-week equilibrium pattern have not broken bull. It's the lead bulls that already have. Sand is tightening up. INJ is still tight. So that needs to break, because what's the scenario? Let's lay out a scenario where, let's say all these names fail their 2-week resistance. What would that look like? Well, maybe that means that the dominance chart, if these names fail 2-week resistance, perhaps the dominance chart is setting a weekly high or low and getting some bounce. So just got to keep an eye out for those key resistances that are still in play if your name has not broken bull yet. But there are other names. Again, the key, one of the main things you want to be focusing on is names that don't have 3 years of bag holders, 5 years of bag holders, and need hundreds of millions of dollars to try and work through resistance. You want the newer names that have less resistance. SPX was just a nice cup and handle, and shout out to the chart guys members that were all over this. It was a daily cup and handle within a weekly cup and handle, and both broke out at the same time. New all-time highs. It stands out. You got to check dollar volume. If something's putting up $1 million a day, that's not much. That can be influenced by a small group of people. I want something that's putting up $10+ million a day ideally. We got SPX here on Kraken is putting up $10+ million a day, roughly, recently. So have those criteria, close to all-time highs, enough volume and liquidity that it's tradable. Pengu was another one standing out. It had this. Just got this little cup and handle type of pattern. Again, resistance, bull flag, hold EMA 12, go. And I don't think it's an all-time high. No, not an all-time high, but plenty of follow-through. Nice daily stair step. The lead bulls are still in some daily stair step. CRV, still a daily stair step. It's a very important resistance test. If CRV fails here, again, you know, it's not a huge red flag to fail initially, considering how extended we are, plus 65% just to get to resistance. But you got to ensure a bull flag. If you fail, bull flag, hold daily EMA 12 as it catches up, and then try for that double top breakout. Okay. Read in the chat room. Appreciate the support and the likes. Hey, Lock Doctor. How do you find the top when there is no resistance or support? Good question. Number one, do not expect to nail the top, so you break up your order into thirds, fourths, fifths. That bounce that I just showed, SMR, I sold 20% at a time. Sell a little more, little more, little more, because the bounce got way more follow through than I thought it would. And so if I had broken it into only halves, sell half, I would have sold way too early. So you, number one, accept you're not going to nail the top. My style is sell some into the initial strength and euphoria, and then with the rest of your position, you're letting the trends dictate walking things up. For example, you know, I'm going to sell, this is hypothetical, I'm going to sell more ETH when we lose the hourly EMA 12 support. That's a fine statement. If you want a tighter leash on your profit that you've made over the last 24 hours, that's a perfectly fine criteria to use. Lose hourly EMA 12, short term will be showing me a little bit of a shift is underway. I'm going to sell partial. And then maybe the last third of my position, I'll sell when we lose the daily uptrend. I'll walk a stop up, stop under 29.33. Let's say we set another higher low. I'll move it up. So I'll sell partial into strength, and then the opposing side has to force me out of my runner position. Being extended is not enough. I'll hold through being extended. I need the bears to prove to me something is shifting by confirming a downtrend, by losing a longer term uptrend. Prove to me things are shifting if I'm going to exit the rest of that position. Because otherwise, as we know in euphoria, you could say, oh, well, things are extended, and you sell a bit, and you sell a bit, and now you're out of a position, and we were another 30% higher. So I want to have at least a runner to capture all of the strength, and even if I sell a bit and it's on the way back down, that's fine. I'm doing that in the S&P 500 right now. I've been, bullish my swing account in the S&P 500 for 2.5 months, and I'm saying I'm not going to nail the top. I'm not trying to fight a blue sky bull. Bears have to give me a reason to clearly shift my bias, and they just haven't done that for 2.5 months, so I stay bullish. So determine the time frames that are most important for you. For some people, it will be the hourly. For some people, it'll be the daily, and for some, it'll be the weekly or the monthly. And it's okay to have partial positions matter more on different time frames. A third on the hourly, a third on the daily, a third on the weekly, whatever you want to do. Is BTC and ETH is going down now or not? No. That can change. But use your trends as your guide. For ETH, anything above 31.44 is an hourly high or low. Altcoin just got added to Coinbase, huh? So 2-week looks a bit different, but similar concept. We've got resistance to be watching. Didn't really get much of a bump for the Coinbase ad, huh? Got to be cautious. Okay, so we see weekly resistance, and then I zoom in and say, okay, I got to be cautious of this resistance. Every bull break goes right into consolidation. That's not ideal. That means keep an eye out for a potential rising wedge. So we can draw this resistance line that we're going to keep an eye on. It's not really a rising wedge in terms of the support line. You can draw a channel. So let's do that. More of a channel there. But if we come up here and fail 143, it's another potential head and shoulders. If we fail that high and roll over and confirm the daily downtrend, that's a weekly lower high being set. So very clearly, by looking at the lows of the last 2 periods of daily consolidation, 117, double bottom, that has to hold. 117 is the most important support level on Altcoin daily time frame. If it breaks, weekly lower high is set, and we're going to keep tightening. If it holds, we can keep working our way towards that weekly resistance. So 117, most important support, and 153 to 165, the most important resistance zone. So XLM lead bull, daily pulled back. This is now a must-hold level. If we lose 429, things are shifting a good bit. In an ideal world, we hold that. We didn't even get hourly oversold, huh? In an ideal world, we hold that and see continuation. But if we lose it, we'll zoom out and we'll watch for the potential of weekly consolidation. A chart like this, the monthly time frame, or 2-month or whatever, let's go 2-month just to smooth it out a bit. 2-month. Got to be cautious. Again, you just show me this chart by itself. I say scout a lower high and a continued equilibrium. And obviously, if alt season really gets going, then that can be out the window. But it's just, you could be bullish the chart because it's bullish, but in the back of your mind say, okay, well, if we don't break 64 cents, it's possible we keep tightening up within this range through the summer. So I just don't want to be blindsided by that possibility. I want to know that that is a possible scenario, and I've got to be keeping an eye out for it. So what would be the first sign? Confirming a daily downtrend. What would be the second sign? Giving back 50% of that move up. So have the list of what would show us that that 2-month lower high is likely shaping up. Thanks, friends. I've been trading cannabis volatility. I made a video about it over the weekend. It's on our YouTube. LDO. 2-week on LDO. Same thing. So it's all about 118. If we don't break 118, we're just going to keep tightening up. We have a double bottom. So we bounce the lower high. We hold support. First resistance, $1, psychological round number. But what matters most is 118. Because again, if you're XRP, if you're ENS, these names are already doing this. And they're up here. And so the names, if they cannot break the 2-week resistance, we will keep tightening through August. Into August. So That's key. Got to keep the daily higher lows going. $1 clearly a tough level. Got to turn $1 into support and get over 2-week resistance. AVAX. Same thing. 2-week. So I'm not just going to keep repeating myself on all the same setups, but anything under 2684 is a lower high to keep tightening. That is the level that must break. We currently have a daily higher low pattern. That is our guide. If we lose the daily higher lows, it's the first indication of a 2-week lower high. Bulls just want to keep those daily higher lows going and ideally join the other lead bulls by breaking that key resistance. We've got some resistance at 24, 26. AFAQ, don't know how to say your name, AFAQ. I appreciate that you are thirsting for knowledge, and I'm going to give you the information that you don't want to hear. You should stop trading, and you should focus 100 hours into learning how to identify trends, going through educational content, and prioritizing that over trading. You have to have the time put in to understand technical analysis for it to benefit your trading. Otherwise, you just clicking buttons and gambling and it works for a while and then you give it all back. So if I were you, I would shift from prioritizing trading and clicking the buttons because it's fun and a rush to saying, I want to learn a skill set that is going to benefit me for the next 10 plus years of my life. And if you can do that, then you're proving discipline to yourself. You're proving your headspace is in the right space. Go through our YouTube channel. We've got 6 hours of webinar about the core foundational understanding of what you need for technical analysis. But otherwise, we're just running around like chickens with our head cut off, and we're not going to make any kind of sustainable progress in this game. And that goes for everybody. I'm just using you as an example in the moment. So playlists on our YouTube. Joey's playlist. Bear with me. Joey webinars. You watch all 4 of these for 5 hours. And that is your starting point. So 5 hours is your starting point. We want hundreds of hours if we're going to actually get real good at this. Good question. If you're moving up your stop for the daily higher lows, but the last daily higher low is a long ways away, I don't want to give back 20% just to find out that the daily uptrend is going to be lost. So do you move your stop up in that scenario? Yeah, I will. That's another time where, again, for me, I have zero FOMO fully exiting a position into euphoria. If it keeps going without me, then that's fine. And that's where a long-term no-touch position can help. You still benefit. But, if things get insane and super stacks are firing on daily and weekly timeframes, which means we are through the roof overextended on the weekly, the daily, the 12-hour, the 4-hour, all the way down, I will sell into that. So yes, you can adjust your game plan based on current new information as things progress. RGTI looks great. Had the news headline this morning, big time breakout. And we're just watching all-time highs, really. DOGE. Same thing, 2-week equilibrium. So again, we need another 20%. We need 25% from here to break bull. If we don't put up another 25%, again, just don't be shocked. It is entirely possible that if things cool off a bit, and if the dominance chart bounces, it's possible we do something like that into the end of the summer or into August, later August. So again, that's why the daily uptrend is so important, Because if we lose these daily higher lows, that's likely shaping up. So every day is going to give us more information, which is most likely. And the daily uptrend is our guide. All right. SEZEC. Guess what? 2 week higher low. Anything under 56.79, just a lower high to keep tightening. That's a long ways away. 25% from here. Can we do 25% and break under the right euphoric conditions? Yes. If the dominance chart just free falls, yes. But if the dominance chart holds that low, a lot of these charts are going to form lower highs and keep tightening. And again, by the next time I live stream here next week, probably next Tuesday, we're going to get a lot more information as to whether tightening ranges on all of these things are now more likely, or have bulls kept full control? Have they kept the strong daily uptrends? Has Bitcoin traded sideways and hit a new all-time high, 125 plus, to try and keep hope alive to break these resistances as opposed to tightening sideways further? So daily uptrend is our guide, 2 week resistance on a bunch of names, and every day we're going to get more information. I appreciate you watching. Is there a video on setting up TradingView on your website? Yes. Again, just go to our website and use the search feature. There's tons of TradingView content. TradingView tips about setting up alerts and stuff. How to use TradingView. TradingView tips and tricks. There's also videos about how I set up my chart, how Lori sets up her chart. So yeah, go to our website. Trading tools, resources, trading tools, free chart template, Joey's chart, Dan's chart, everybody's chart. All right, do good things. Appreciate you watching. Click like. And let's see how long ETH can hold hourly EMA 12. Bitcoin need to get over 120 to set that daily higher low.